Hey everyone, today is gonna be about Valheim. If you wondered whether you should play it, I'll try to answer. First, the price. It's $20 normally and $16 on sale. Also, the game is in early access. This means you can't really demand much from it. So I'm going to concentrate on things that probably will not change in the future. The game weighs about 1 GB. It is cool that it won't take much space on your disc, but you pay for that with the visuals. Let's say textures in this game are peculiar. They have this low resolution art style where you can see individual pixels on objects with pretty detailed geometry. Personally, it didn't bother me at all. Game starts with character creation. Not many options there, but I managed to make Geralt. After that, you have to generate a map with some seed, just like in Minecraft. Then a raven transports you to the mystic stones, which tell you about the lore of the game. There you can register location of the first boss on the map, and that's basically it. Now you're on your own. You can go and explore this world, build a base, kill creatures and bosses. There are 5 bosses for now. Each time you kill a boss, you can bring a trophy from him and place it on one of those mystic stones, and it will provide you with the ability to call a power of that particular boss. From time to time, the raven will appear and tell you something useful. Your character has a set of skills. You can improve them by doing the associated activity, just like in Skyrim. Run to improve running, hit the enemies with a sword to improve swords, etc. For a start, find a place to settle down your base, build a shack, farm some resources, and go kill the first boss. It's quite easy. Then get his power and continue exploring other biomes. Visit dungeons to learn the location of other bosses. The further you play, the more dangerous creatures you encounter. You have to grind more advanced types of resources and make better equipment to be able to vanquish them. Physics in this game is amusing. You can chop a tree and it will be falling down, rotating around another tree and chasing you. Water looks magnificent. It can be a little scary to sail in storm. But I think the best part of this game is building system. You can get really creative with it. Structures connected to the ground can support limited number of structures without connection. Wooden structures degrade and lose durability if exposed to rain, so you have to build a roof on top of them. Unfortunately, you cannot dig a cave, and I learned that hard way. Part of my house just collapsed. You can create comfortable conditions in your house, and if you stay there for a while, you will get a buff that allows you to regenerate stamina and health faster. The higher the comfort level, the longer buff lasts, so decorating your house actually makes sense. Unfortunately, you cannot dive and build your own ships. I think developers should definitely add these features. Music is quite interesting too, resembles one from Witcher. Interesting set of creatures. You can tame and breed some animals. You can also grow crops. Unfortunately, the breeding and farming are very limited, so I hope they will expand it in the future. Food works in an interesting way. Instead of just instant healing, it provides you buffs to health and stamina regeneration in different proportions. You can have 3 at a time, hence preparing different kind of foods makes sense too. And sadly, this is where the fun part ends. You see, there's some point in time when getting resources starts to feel tedious. You have to travel very far from your base and spend most of the time doing monotonous activities. A good example of handling that may be Ark Survival Evolved, where you can exploit dinosaurs to considerably speed up the grinding process. Valheim has some upgraded tools for grinding and skills that increase damage you do to trees and ore deposits, but it progresses at a very low rate. You can barely see the difference between 2 adjacent skills and tools. Now let's talk about the world. It's procedurally generated. At the first glance it looks amazing, but the further you explore it, the more you understand that it feels empty and repetitive. All those biomes look different from one another, but there is not much difference between 2 biomes of the same type. The game does not generate some unique landscapes, it's all like Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. Just look at the map, looks terrible. And all maps look like that. I think they should hire some level designer who will make them unique map or entirely rework world generator. The game has some major issues with draw distances. If you want to settle down coast and contemplate the great view of another coast, you can fuck yourself. In the best case, you'll see a green mess with a couple of trees. With these visuals and pretty high system requirements, I don't think developers have an excuse for that. This is how a forest at the distance should look like. Building something partly in water is a pain in the ass. Snapping system doesn't work if you don't see the surface you want to snap to. Archery feels a little bit unintuitive. Sorting resources in chests consumes enormous amount of time. Then, to craft something, you have to manually take resources from chests to your inventory. But the great thing is that all of this can be fixed with mods. Building on the raft's also possible with mods, which lets you trick the game and build your own ship. If you play this game, you should definitely check mods. But despite such a long list of shortcomings, I think this game is generally good. If you want to play it alone, then I don't think you should. But if you have some friends to play with, you should definitely give it a try. It's meant to be played that way. Remember boss powers I told you about? Each player is able to call one power at a time, but they are granted to every player in proximity and can be combined. Besides, as I told you, game doesn't cost much, so you won't waste your money. See you!
Гоблин.